Hello, dear student. I am Professor Mohammad Masood Ahmad. It's my law class. Uh, Dear student, today we have the subject History of Courts, Legislature, and Legal Profession in India. As I've already completed the two classes, and that those videos I have uploaded, and today I have got the class number 3, where the topics we are covering: the administration of justice in the presidency town and development of courts and judicial institution under the East India Company. It is year 1600 to 1773 and the Mayor's Court. So these things will be covering briefly. Yeah. Let us go to the first topic. As I mentioned you, so we are talking about the history of court, legislature and legal profession of India. We are into the unit number 1 and that too the basic concept. So today we are completing the basic concept administration of justice in the presidency town and development of courts and judicial institution under the East India Company 1600 to 1773. Introduction. The legal history of the British India opens with the establishment of East India Company. See, whenever we talk about the British India, the beginning, it was the East India Company. It was incorporated in England by the Crown's Charter of 1600. So, it was incorporated with a Crown's Charter. The year was 1600 and the Charter Act of 1600. And the company was exclusively given trading rights in Asia, including India, Africa, and America. All the members of the company constituted themselves as a general court, and it was to elect the court directors every year. If you remember in the present scenario, if you have got the background of the commerce at 11th or 12th standard, or you are from the BCom or BCom honors or BBA, you know the concept of joint stock company. Now in the present era, the joint stock company is registered with the company's register of company. Now the present act, we have the Companies Act 2013. The previously we used to have the Companies Act 1956, which will give the all the provision. But here we are talking about the year 1600. So company was incorporated. East India Company was incorporated with the charter. Okay, and then the members of the company in the present scenario, we call them the members as shareholders. Okay, there will be different types of shareholder, but in general we call them as a shareholder. But you see here, in case of East India Company, all the members of the company constituted themselves as a general court. General court. So this is the general court. Here it is mentioned. This is general court. So general court is nothing but the present era, we call it as a equity shareholder. And it was to elect the court of directors. Court of directors, it is board of director every year. So this we do it. And then the court of directors, now in the present era, we call it as a board of director, consisted of a governor and 24 director who was to who were to manage the entire business of the company, East India Company. Okay. The court of directors could be removed from their office even before the expiry of their term of office by the general court. Then let us go for the objectives of the East India Company. Initially, the company had intention to carry on the trade or commerce in Asia, Africa, and America. As I already mentioned you in the previous class also, East India Company, they call it East India because when they were in UK, it is the eastern part of the world for them. Similarly, they had a company in West Indies, that is the west side of UK. So that is connected to now the present country and cities we have. It is the port of Spain, Guyana, Trinidad. So these are the West Indies place. There they had the West India companies actually. Uh, and then as I have mentioned, that initially the company had intention to carry on the trade and commerce in the Asia, Africa, and America, and it was confirmed with the only those powers which were necessary to regulate its business and maintain discipline amongst its servants, and not for governing any territory. So the objective number one, it was trade and it was commercial activity. It is a company activity. Okay, so they did not have the intention of governing the country or capturing the territory. It's not like that. The second one, but when the company entered India and found that the Indian kings were disunited, Indian kings are disunited and unaware of modern politics, the company gradually acquired territory of India. This point we have to remember. See, the first objective, we were they were concerned with the trading and commercials, and but now they found our weaknesses of our kings and ruler because they were disunited, and they gradually they acquired the territory of India. So this is the transformation. Number three, uh, Portuguese occupation of Indian territories also inspired the company to acquire territory in India, and its acquisition was also beneficial from the commercial point of view, also because the company could capture market for its goods. So Portuguese know that they ruled before Britishers. Know they ruled some part of India, particularly the western part of India. It is the Goa. So that experience they had, there was a understanding that no, we can capture the territory also based on their experience. The Portuguese experience in the Western India, particularly in Goa. The next one, at the time of incorporation, the objective of the company was only commercial, but later it turned into the political. So this is also very important point. So turned into the political. The next one, so we are continuing with the objective number 5. The Charter of 1600 conferred the powers only to regulate its business and maintain discipline among its servants. But when its objects turned into the political, it needed the power necessary for maintenance of the territory, and the British Crown cooperated with it and conferred on it more powers for this purpose. See, previous objectives we have seen the objective number one. They came here for the trade, they came here for the business and commercial activity. But the weaknesses of our rulers, okay, uh, that they had the opportunity to capture some territory of India and try to control the administration. So this happened because they had the full support from the British Crown, that is the UK. Then, in early days, the administration of justice in the settlements of East India Company was not of high order, and there was no separation of powers between the executive and judiciary. See, initially what happens, they were focusing on East India Company for the trade and commercial. They were nothing to do with the administration and the ruling the territory, a part of India. So because of that, they were not focusing on the administration and judiciary. So, but later on, because they captured part of India, some territory, because of that, no, they started focusing on executive and judiciary, which are the two pillars of the democracy. Uh, Similarly, the judges were not law experts, and the company gave lesser importance to the judicial independence, fair justice, and the rule of law. So, the system and procedures, the legal systems and procedures were not there. So, there was no fair justice and there was no rule of law. Then, provision of Charter of 1726. What was the provision? According to the Charter of 1726, the mayor court was to established in each presidency town. So I think this we have to remember, presidency town here. Presidency town, the members of the mayor courts include the mayor and aldermen of the corporation of presidency town. See, mayor is the mayor. Present era also we have the mayor, and aldermen, they are the members of the mayor council. Aldermen, they are the members, are the councillors, we call them councillors for that the council of mayor. And then quorum was constituted by the mayor or the senior alderman along with the two other aldermen. So the whatever councillors we had in the mayor council, so the quorum was constituted with mayor and the senior alderman along with the two other aldermen. So provision of the Charter of 1726, establishment of corporation, okay, establishment of mayor's court. So mayor's court was the revolution in the early 1700, and it was established in 1726. Justice of peace and administration of justice in the criminal matter, establishment of King's Court, introduction of English law in India, the system of appeals to the Privy Council. So these are the provision of Charter of 1726. Here we have to remember that this charter we have exactly after 126 years, because the East India Company came in the year 1600, founded on 31st December 1600, and business started from the 1st January 1601. So almost after 125 years now, so we are going for a new charter. Establishment of Mayor's Court. The court was established under the charter in 1726, issued by the company. Mayor's Court in the presidency area, we call it, that is the Mumbai, Bombay, that time it is Bombay, Madras and Calcutta were the East India Company's highest courts in British India. Mayor's Court were highest courts in British India. The two, they started in the presidency towns, and presidency towns, these are the three cities that time: Bombay, Madras and Calcutta. It was also a court of record, thus had a power to punish person for its contempt. So, so it had the power to give the judgment and punish, and even they can go for the contempt also, if any. Introduction of English law in India. The Mayor's Court under the Charter of 1726 was empowered to apply English law and the procedure of English courts. It is thus by the Royal Charter of 1726 English law was introduced in India for its first time. See, even the present era, if we see the law, whatever laws we have derived from the Central Act or the State Act, okay, so basically we have derived from the British law, and because of that our half of law or more than half of the law, it was enacted before independence, that is 1947. So it has got the base, it has got the foundation, the Indian laws, whether it is the central enactment or the state enactment, it has got the British background. This we should remember. And this was the turning point actually. It is the 1726. So English law was introduced in India for its first time. That was in 1726. Then structure of the Mayor's Court. The Mayor's Court is divided. This diagram is less visible, but I can tell you it is the civil court and criminal court. The civil court, left hand side, we have the mayor and 12 aldermen and jury. Right hand side, we have the criminal court, the mayor, 3 aldermen and jury. So aldermen, they are the members with the mayor. So like this, we have the structure of Mayor's Court. And one of the photo that this is the sketch available because it is about the 18th century. 18th century. So this is the photo, the first mayor court in Calcutta. It is the British India at that time. So it is the sketch. It is available. That it is visible that how the court was there and what was the background that time in the 18th century. So this